welcome back to my channel, Miss Pretty Plants. I wanted to share with you today plants that I rescued from Home Depot as they were dying. I mean, I paid 50 cents for each of these pots, but there were a lot of these plants that were kind of getting trashed, and I felt really bad seeing that happen. And so I was able to grab these for 50 cents each, which I think is really good. I got a whole bunch of echinacea coneflower, Pow Wow White, and I also got some daisies that I was able to get for 50 cents. I also got this plant that they were throwing out. I'm not sure what, I've never ever seen this one before. It is Allegheny Spurge Pachysandra plant. So I think it is a shade tolerant plant, kind of like a ground cover, almost evergreen. So I'm thinking this might be a good option to put in my shade garden. So I picked up a whole bunch of these and a bunch of echinacea plants and some daisies. And I was also able to get a Sonic Bloom Weigela, which is red, lipstick red. So I was able to get 3 of these for a really good price as well. So I think I'm going to plant this in the new area that I was kind of cleaning up, and I'll post a link to that, my earlier video on that. So I think I'm going to use these plants to fill up that area, maybe create like a bunch of coneflowers there, like a bed of coneflowers, because we'll see how many of these survive. They are really dry and parched, so I'm going to give them a good watering. And I also got a couple of these very awesome Summerific Hibiscus plants. I have some of these already planted in my garden, but they were at a really good price as well, like $9 at Canadian Tire. So I was able to pick up 2 more of these beauties. I will find a spot for these somewhere in my garden yet. I don't know where they're going to go, but for now, very good deals, very hard to resist. And I really wanted to save these plants and give them a little bit of hope for next year. I mean, they're extremely dry, extremely withering, and just not looking like they are going to do much, but we'll see. I'm going to water these, I'm going to clean them up, and we'll see how I'm going to place them and where I'm going to plant them. I watered these plants thoroughly now, and I can already feel after a good watering they are starting to perk up a little bit, and I'm hoping that a lot of these will make it, and I'm able to use most of these plants in somewhere in my garden. So I'm going to show you where I'm going to place this in my garden. I'm going to get a rough idea for where I want to plant them. And I just also wanted to show you one of these has a little bloom on it, which is so nice to see. I'm hoping that these are healthy and they will come back next year with just as much vigor and once they're in the ground. So I'll keep you posted on, I will show you where I'm going to place these in my garden. So after much debate, what I decided to do is remove these raspberry shrubs from the back over there so that I can have easier access to grabbing raspberries, because once these shrubs are planted, I really don't have much to do with them other than occasional pruning. So I'm thinking that I kind of want these Weigela shrubs to be more in the back, behind this and surrounding this brandywine viburnum, just because they will be about 4 to 5 feet tall and wide, and they will be covered in blooms, the lipstick red blooms. So I'll be able to see them from a distance, from an angle, as I'm walking towards this back garden or on the side yard. So I think this angle, I really like it, intermingled with the other shrubs. So it's going to create like a trio of these shrubs around here. And then what I can do is place these raspberry. I have 4 of them that I can kind of place them either behind the shed so that I can walk to it and I can access the raspberries, or maybe somewhere along here in this path where they have room to spread. So that's what my plan is. Let me get these in the ground and I'll show you the result. This plant out of the pot and it is severely root bound. Took me a long time to get this out of the pot. So what I'm gonna do is loosen all these roots before I put this in the ground. And I don't think I'm going to add any fertilizer or anything to this plant because I just want it to grow in my native soil. So I'm just gonna leave it as is, and I'm going to plant this in the soil the way it is and loosen the roots and plant it. I've dug a deep enough hole and wide enough hole that I can put this Weigela in. So here we go. Here it is. I'm done planting these shrubs in the ground. They were quite root bound and I took some time for me to loosen them, get them out of the pots and get them planted. So I'm really happy with the results. They look really nice. And the grass is still around here because I'm not digging out the entire grass. I am going to probably just dig it out as needed and mulch the area when I'm done. So what I did was I moved the raspberry shrubs, bushes on this side so that I can have access to the raspberries when they grow, and they can kind of spread out in this area, and I'll try to keep them contained in this area and have them spread out here, which will be nice to have this as a raspberry patch. And then behind these I have a couple of 9-bark shrubs that are going to be delivered later this week, so I will plant them in the back over there to kind of offer some privacy near the fence. But other than that, I think I'm happy with the placement of all the shrubs. I like how this looks, and now all I have to do is think about how I want to place the coneflowers, so many coneflowers that I have in here, and I'll most likely just, scatter them around here, leaving a little bit of a path in the middle here to get to the back, and pretty much that's going to be the end of the planting for this section. Here's an update of how I have planted in here. So I created a row of these Pow Wow White Cone plants. I think they look a lot better once they are in the soil as opposed to how they were looking in the pots. They kind of looked dead. So I'm kind of very happy to put them in the ground and give them a chance to live. And I'm hoping they bounce back this year, if not next year. And I think I'm going to tomorrow cut some of these dead flower heads and give them a chance to flush out some new leaves and settle their roots. And I also kind of placed a few more almost dead looking plants in here as well. I kind of created like a drift around these shrubs just to add some of these flowers. They are all Pow Wow Whites, so I think it'll look nice to have like a flush of white coneflowers going down this. And I've left this path a little bit open in the middle so that I can have some space to walk towards the back, because I do use the corner to dump some clippings and things like that. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. It has at least transformed into something pretty and something nice to look at, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So the shrubs are in, the Weigelas are in, and the raspberries have been relocated, as well as these Pow Wow Echinacea plants have been planted, most of them. I think I still have about 3 or 4 remaining, which I will see where I would plant them. But I think for this portion of the garden, I think these many plants are sufficient to start with this year. And then next year I can think about, based on how these things grow and mature, I'll see how this starts looking. I still have a lot of cleanup to do with the grass and add some mulch, so I'm going to probably do that tomorrow, and I'll update you on how this goes.